Hello, my friends. Welcome back. We are enhancing the calculator project from the YByte Python curriculum available at www.ybyte.in. Previously, we saw how we could place the buttons using for loops. Now, a great thing that happens with that, we can now change the layout of the calculator. For example, let's say I want my calculator to look something like this. Notice, unlike earlier, now my operators are all in a single row and everything else just kind of follows from there. So my layout has only four columns. Um, Now, to do this in the previous code was obviously we have to make a lot of changes. But now that our code is flexible, in fact, this is a lot more easier. Let's first see what changes we have to make. And that's always a good exercise. When you are changing code, you can list down the things that you must change and then go and do them one by one. So here it's all just matter of changing the parameters a little bit. For the entry and expression labels, now the column span will be 4 and not 5 because, as we see here, there are only 4 columns. For the operators, remember now we are placing them in a single row in row number 2. So I'm going to set the base row to say 2, 0, 1, and 2, base column to 0. But instead of changing, let's say the row index, I'll change now the column index as part of the loop. For the numbers, well, nothing much changes really. All I need to do is to say, okay, look, my base row is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, and that's pretty much it because this entire set gets set, from the for loop anyway. For the 0 and the, let's say, 0 button, I just have to adjust the row because now it's going to be on row number 6. And likewise for the C and the equal to button, I have to adjust the column. It's now on column number 3. Now we'll see that these changes, quite easy to make. In fact, just that we have to be a little bit careful. So I come into my code over here right now. So I come back to my regular program. Notice right now the GUI is looking different. Operators are appearing in a column like we had done earlier. But let's now make the changes that we just discussed. First thing first, starting from the, let's say, the entry and exit, entry and the expression label. I'm going to make the column span, like I said, to now 4 because, there are 4 columns in my new layout. So I do that for both of these. Next, I move, let's say, to the numbers first. Now, nothing much to change really. I'm just going to change, well, to base row to 3. So that's for the numbers. I'm going to place for my operators a little bit more change. So base row is going to be, let's say, 2. So that's fine. Base column, however, becomes, say, 0. And in this case, instead of doing, let's say, row is, say, kk plus b row, I'm just going to make it column is equal to, say, kk plus p call. Now we can actually, see that with this, columns will change and hence the row and the row will stay constant. So we'll just get it in one row. For the C button, all I have to do really is that column should become equal to now, 3 and that's it. So for the equal to button, again, the column should become, let's say, uh, 3. In fact, actually, there's one more change. For the C button as well as for the equal to button, the row should become now 3 because remember, it's 0, 1. The third row, which is row number 2, is going to be the operators, and then I get the C and the equal to. So I should have mentioned this. Row becomes 3. So row becomes 3 for the C button, and row becomes, let's say, 3, 4, 5. 5 for the equal to button. And finally, coming to the 0, well, nothing much changes. My row becomes 6 because I have an extra row, and everything else, in fact, remains exactly the same. And this is all the code I have. Notice when I run this piece of code, my entire GUI looks totally different. My operators are in like one row now. My C and the equal to button are below that, and it's going to function exactly like earlier. So let's say I say 12.3, say plus maybe 8, that's equal to say 20.3. In fact, the functionality has not changed, but the looks of it has changed. And see how the fact that we had a flexible code made it easier. Otherwise, we would have to make a lot of changes, and that's very, very error prone. I hope you found this interesting. In general, if you think this way of learning, where we build first an activity, understand how it works, and then look at enhancements, if you think that appeals to you, look at our website www.ybyte.in because that is how we learn Python programming. Take care. Thank you so much. Bye bye.